What are these? These are gazelle foxes or something? Foxtail and gazelle everything else? So the train is powered by Flintstone energy, which makes sense. The Earth Kingdom isn't shown to use steam power or combustion engines or anything that advanced. But that just makes me think, how are the ferries moving? I don't see any sails or any rowing. How are these things powered? Between shots here, it seems like the bench to Aang's right elongates big time. And this seems to be a slightly different person too. Really awesome use of scale. It must have been really hard to actually capture the size that they wanted Ba Sing Se to be in animation, but this shot does a really good job. Also, it's not just the first ring we can see here. In the very back, we can see some of what I assume to be the middle ring as well.
What's the problem? It's amazing.
Just a bunch of walls and rules. You wait, you'll get sick of it in a couple of days.
There aren't too many weak line reads that actually make it into the episodes, but I think this is one of them. It just sounds weird.
You wait, you'll get sick of it in a couple of days.
No, we gotta retake that one, guys. That one sounded weird.
I'm coming for you, buddy.
I want to take this time to actually talk about character agency and how our characters drive each episode. Over 4 previous episodes, each of our characters has had a turn really deciding how each episode plays out. Toph in Bitter Work, Sokka in the library, Katara in the desert, and Aang in the Serpent's Pass. Then they all came together to figure out this one giant problem in the drill. That's really cool. It makes them feel like they're all really big parts of this team, and their agency continues into the Ba Sing Se arc. None of them are on the sidelines. They all feel like they're active and living characters. And I think giving them each an episode to really dig themselves in before we get to the big city where they all have to push towards one goal was really smart. Yeah, they really gave Judy this horror movie music, didn't they? It tells us that there's something off about her, and her being the first thing that we're introduced to in Ba Sing Se, I don't think that's an accident. Judy immediately makes the viewer uneasy, which tells us that even though we're in the Earth Kingdom capital, something is off and we're not entirely safe. In this one quick transition shot, are these houses on top of the wall? If not, they're on the other side, and then that means the wall isn't high enough, right?
It's so quaint and lively. You do want to watch your step, though.
Why do they have all these poor people blocked off in one part of the city? This is why I never came here before. I always heard it was so different from the way the monks taught us to live.
It's cool too that Aang hasn't even been here. We spent most of season 1 traipsing around the world to places Aang wanted to show off, but in these last handful of episodes, even he's been in uncomfortable new places. A lot of story analysis so far in this episode, huh?
I just want our new place to look nice, in case someone brings home a lady friend.
Let's be honest, Iroh is more likely to bring home a girl. I got nothing against Zuko, but he's kind of a downer, you know? And Iroh's a fucking stud!
Look at them. Firebenders living right under everyone's nose.
Jet, you saw a man with a hot cup of tea. It doesn't prove he's a firebender. And what if he is? Are we supposed to attack them? I thought we were starting over here, changing our ways.
We are. When I get the evidence I need, I'll report them to the police and let them handle it. Okay?
I'm an infamous Jet apologist, everyone knows this, and I can't wait until he's fucking dead so I can make you feel like a bad person for not liking him. This part's gonna help. So Iroh is struggling to tie his apron on because it can't handle how much of a complete fucking unit he is, and that's alright, I struggle with that kind of thing all the time. But before his boss can go get more string, it looks like they already sorted the string problem out. How did he manage that? But also on top of that, in the shot where Jet looks in on them, it looks like Iroh already has his apron tied up, but he's struggling with a second bit of string that doesn't exist in any other shot.
This tea is nothing more than hot leaf juice.
Uncle, that's what all tea is.
How could a member of my own family say something so horrible?
Zuko, did you just pour that tea all over the ground? What the hell, man?
More good news. Your request for an audience with the Earth King is being processed and should be put through in about a month. Much more quickly than usual.
A month?
6 to 8 weeks, actually.
Oh, so even less than a month. That's good.
The Earth King is very busy running the finest city in the world, but he will see you as soon as time permits.
If we're gonna be here for a month, we should spend our time looking for Appa.
There was totally not a table here a second ago, and definitely not a table with Momo on top of it. You know, furniture continuity runs pretty deep in my bloodline. Not every average Joe walking down the street can notice furniture continuity like this.
I'm sorry, but
Here's the cat owl that just scared Momo off, chilling up here. Bet you didn't notice it was still in this shot, because I definitely didn't.
You'll have to leave now. Your lemur is harassing my sparrowkeets.
So, sparrowkeet, right. Is that the only fusion animal that's just two different kinds of the same animal? Sparrow and parakeet? We've got this guy from book 3, but I don't actually know exactly what he's supposed to be.
I've never seen any sandbenders or nomads around here. You should ask Professor Zay. He teaches the class on desert cultures.
This kid name drops Professor Zay, who was the same professor that the gang went to the library with.
Right. And which of your professors could we ask about the war with the Fire Nation?
I don't know. I'm not a political science student. I have to get to class.
How well known is it that people get disappeared if they talk about the war? It has to be extremely common knowledge for a simple head shake to get the threatening point across, right? These two obviously know about the existence of the war, so what's the split between people who know about the war and just aren't allowed to talk about it, and people that just flat out don't know? 50-50? 60-40?
You're the Avatar. I heard you were in town. I'm Pong.
Nice to meet you, Pong.
So, Pong, what's going on with the city? Why is everyone here so scared to talk about the war?
War? Scared? What do you mean?
See? Pong knows. We're 3 for 3. Does every single person know? What about the people in the lower ring? What about people that were born and have spent their entire lives in Ba Sing Se? Do they know? Oh my god, why did they make Momo's tail so long in this shot? So how did they get an apartment, by the way? Do all the refugees get hooked up like this? That's a pretty good deal, I guess. Maybe the White Lotus set them up? Hard to say.
Have you seen our spark rocks to heat up the water?
This is another weird line read from Iroh this time. Zuko's like less than 10 feet away from him, so why is he shouting like this to him like he's in another room? Is it just so Jet can hear him and this scene can make sense? I think so.
I learned proper society behavior and chose to leave it. You never learned anything. And frankly, it's a little too late.
Kind of a gross one, but you can actually see the booger that Toph flicks here as it sticks to the ceiling. I heard somewhere once that in older Eastern cultures, you're supposed to bow deeper to an elder than they bow to you as a sign of respect, which is what this whole dick measuring contest gag is based on. Don't quote me on that though. In fact, someone fact check me on that.
But you two would be lucky to pass as busboys.
But I feel so fancy.
Wait, is that the joke? Toph's booger just fell from the ceiling and landed on Sokka's head, with the sound effect and everything. Did anyone ever get this joke before now? I just got that right now, as I write this. And as I voice this, I'm still taken aback. Has anyone ever got this gag? This is the hardest joke to get in Avatar ever.
Fire!
I've said it before, but I love seeing Aang and Sokka just be homies. Also, hell yeah, Earth beats fire. Earth beats everything. Earth number 1.
Wow, you look beautiful. Don't talk to the commoners, Katara. First rule of society.
Damn. They live in a society. This dude just closed the door behind him, but in this next shot it seems like the door is just hanging wide open. And this seems to be the guy that just entered, at least as far as outfit and hair go.
I'm tired of waiting. These two men are firebenders! Go ahead. Show them what you can do.
You want a show? I'll give you a show.
Oh, what is this random sword fight choreography? They're throwing tables at each other. This Zuko balancing thing is so cool. Little moments like these are way cooler to me than any big anime explosions could ever be. Like, look at this. This is the coolest shit in the world.
Invitation, please.
I think this will do.
No entry without an invitation. Step out of line, please.
Look, the Pangs and the Yumsoon Hans are waiting in there for us. I'm gonna have to tell them who didn't let me in.
These are probably real high society names that Toph just knows offhand from being born a Beifong, which is cool. She's still trying to play this card like she did with the crabby fairy lady, but it's cool that it doesn't work this time, and Katara actually connives their way in. See what I mean? Everyone does something. Everyone's a player. This is it. This is the last time I'm doing it. Might as well do it right.
Now, where is your family? I'd love to meet them.
I don't see him right now, but I'm sure we'll find him soon. Thanks for all your help.
Don't worry. As your escort, it would be dishonorable to abandon you ladies without finding your family first.
What did he just do? I know Ba Sing Se is supposed to feel weird and creepy, but he's not allowed to just Jason Voorhees appear in some place he wasn't, right? What did he physically do to get here?
Where are they?
Is this a lion turtle statue? What is this? A lot of story analysis and a lot of who the hell knows what animals are in this world analysis in this episode. A lot of that stuff going around. Zuko catches Jet's swords on the hilt of his own swords here, under his hands. That can't be good, right? Like, oh my god, your fingers, dude. You're playing with fire. The animation here is super funny. I think it's supposed to be that Jet jumps backwards and hooks onto this beam, and then just kind of pendulum launches himself at Zuko, but the animation only really gets across that he hung there for a second and then went flying at him.
Another crab puff, please. You found us.
Haha, look at Aang as Katara walks up. You gotta keep it a little lower key, my man.
At this early stage, it's critical that you maintain maximum aloofness.
What are you doing here? You have to leave immediately or we'll all be in terrible trouble.
Sokka just pours all the crab puffs all over the floor here, man. What's with people and the malicious destruction of food and drink in this episode?
You keep their attention while I look for the king.
Watch this, everybody.
What are they drinking? Is Aang the first liquor bender? Never mind, I don't want to be an earthbender. I will be the liquor bender.
Come with us, son.
The Dai Li cuff Jet with their rock hands, and if you slow it way down, you can actually see the fact that they animated no rocks in the palm of their hands. Awesome attention to detail. Am I Mandela affected right now? Because I've seen this show so many times, and pretty much every single time I watch this episode, you can see more and more of the Earth King in this shot. I swear back in the day, in 2006 or whenever this aired, this dude was nearly a silhouette. Like, you could barely tell any detail at all. But now, look at him, you could just fucking see him. Is anyone with me on this?
Aang, the Earth King!
Where do these little balls of liquid go? Unless it's somehow colored air. It's gotta be the same liquid he stole out of the cups earlier though, right? In this shot it looks like there's 8 whole ass dudes stepping up to the table, but in this very next shot there's only 4. You could see Momo sneak off in this hat earlier if you were keeping a close eye on him. Long Feng being backed by a green fire is really nice visual storytelling. Despite him being a higher up in the Earth Kingdom government, he's still obviously an enemy, and a green fire is a really cool way to instantly visualize that. When they drag Jet into this room, there is definitely no giant metal ring contraption, but you know, you gotta keep things snappy, so it's fine. Brainwashing is kind of just a staple in a lot of kids shows, right? But I feel like Avatar is one of the only ones that really capture the horror behind it in this scene. When I was a kid, I didn't give it much thought, but what are you if you aren't your own thoughts and memories? Someone taking those away from you is like killing who you are, and as an adult I can really see the scariness behind that. They don't focus on it much past the scene, but still, Jet's look here is really chilling if you think about it like that. If you watch closely here, you can actually see the Dai Li agent's shadow reacts properly to where the lamp is in relation to him.
I understand you've been looking for your bison. It would be quite a shame if you were not able to complete your quest.
What a great line. What an awesome introduction to a character. Long Feng isn't immediately physically threatening, that's not the point. He has political power and is a manipulator. This is really the first villain that the gang has come across with those traits. So him throwing a veiled threat like this feels really heavy. And Aang's response is perfect. There's not much he can do. At this point, since Aang leveled up so much, physical threats wouldn't really make sense, but a veiled, ambiguous threat to Appa? Yeah, that would be really threatening. So it's nice that Aang doesn't have a quip to come back with or something, and just takes it very, very seriously. Awesome scene, and an awesome back and forth right there.
Now Judy will show you home.
Come with me, please.
What happened to Judy?
I'm Judy. I'll be your host as long as you're in our wonderful city.
Very, very creepy ending. Judy getting disappeared and replaced is, very jarring. Let's just put it like that. The last 2 or 3 minutes of this episode really ramp up that uneasy feeling that Judy instilled at the very start. And now the other Judy is here to completely turn the view of this city upside down using the exact same words that the original Judy introduced herself with. Genius. This episode is another really good one. A lot of it is set up. We have to learn about Ba Sing Se and how things work and the hierarchy and the politics, so you would think that would make for a slower episode. And it does, but it's never boring. Ba Sing Se is endlessly interesting because of the tone they set with Judy, and that really carries it. The Jet and Zuko plotline, despite having a fight, was really just more setup, honestly. It was just a means to an end to set up the brainwashing thing. So yeah, a lot of setup, but we need it. If the city wasn't set up in this and the next episode, the following episodes wouldn't feel as strong, and we all know the final few episodes of this season absolutely kill it. And before I get into the patrons, I've got to let you guys know, I'm always getting comments about how I should cover the comics that tell the story after after the finale of the show? Well, over on Comic Drake's channel, he has a new video about the first of those comics, and I might steal the show for a little bit to do some classic overanalyzing on those issues. So head on over to his channel right now and check it out. Link is in the description down below. Alright, patron shoutouts. If you want to be 2 episodes ahead of the YouTube releases, you can support me on Patreon for just a few bucks. Most enormous shoutouts of all go to Cognomancer, the only man on the planet who can do a push-up without using his arms. Emilio Muffin, who helped 65 old ladies across the road at once, and I think that's a record. Fritz Sullivan, who donates to all of those sad animal charity commercials you see every time he sees one. Keegan Scott, who actually figured out telekinesis, but he doesn't want to show it off because he's too humble. Louis Petitjean, who is the only man I know that can do a handstand with no arms. Skylos, who is capable of speaking to animals through interpretive dance, and it is quite tasteful if I do say so myself. And Zoompy, who is the only man I know who has 4 arms. Other massive shoutouts go to my other top patrons: Be My Valentine, Bingo Dingo, Bob Def, Code Canut, Derek Cornwell, DJ Jax, Do Mutual Aid, Eleanor Rose, Glitlock, Nicholas Abbott, Parker Glass, The Most Super of Snippers, and Tiago Nascimento. Next up is Tales of Boss Sing Say. Yup.